Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Combat Craig, and today we're talking about Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, versus VA claims. There's different rating criteria for both of those, and I've got a few questions asking if the medical evidence that you use to prove and win your VA claim, this is mainly for people that are 100%, because Social Security, you have to be 100%. And the answer is maybe, and it depends. The first thing you should think about is these are two different agencies. They're two totally different animals. Social Security has one burden of proof to prove your Social Security claim, and then the VA has a completely different burden of proof. In some cases, the exact same evidence can be used, absolutely. In other cases, they won't be considered at all. So today we're going with VA claim is one, you're 100% P&T, now you're going after Social Security. That's kind of the premise here. That's the foundation that we're setting. So will the evidence that you use to get 100% permanent total work? If you just file a Social Security claim, will that just work? Here's a couple of examples of how different they are and how it absolutely will not work. So the first one is Social Security does not recognize social impairment. The VA uses social impairment as well as occupational impairment, and Social Security, they don't recognize social impairment at all. All right, so let's go ahead and use the mental health rating criteria as a baseline here. Like I said, you already won your VA mental health claim. Now you're going after Social Security. So the first thing you should understand is they do not have a staged rating system like the VA does. With mental health ratings, you have 0, 10, 30, 50, 70, and 100, all the way through the range, and that represents different levels of how much you can work or how much you can interact socially. If we hop over to Social Security, it's all or nothing. So 0% or 100% are your options. So depending on what you use to prove your claim and get your 100% P&T, this is going to make a big difference. If you're still able to work, and let's say you have a 50% rating for mental health, and it's occupational and social impairment with reduced reliability, that's not terminology that Social Security recognizes. They recognize you can't work, period. And then if we dive deeper into that, and looking at that same 50% rating, social and occupational impairment. The social impairment isn't considered at all. It's just not even a factor in Social Security disability insurance. So if you won your claim and you were weak on the work part, meaning you can work and you have a lot of deficiencies in your social life, if that's what you use to win your VA claim, then that's going to be useless for you in your Social Security claim. So there's a way to fix that, but you want to focus in on what the Social Security Administration is actually looking for and give them that evidence. So this is one example of how what you use to prove up your VA claim won't work for Social Security. It's all or nothing. So a 50% rating means you could still work just fine. And in VA land, you can work. You can work and get a 50% rating. You can work with a 100% rating, no problem. I know lots of you guys do it. Social Security, you can't work at all. It's 0% or 100%, right? You can either work or you can't. And then if you used any aspect of your claim, you're including social impairment, that's not even going to be considered at all by Social Security because it's not something they recognize. So when you're filing your Social Security disability insurance claim, you want to look at the rating criteria and understand some of the differences. Yes, there is a percentage of veterans that submit exactly what they submitted for their VA claim and they won. They didn't have medical evidence that talked about social impairment or they could work a little bit. Let's look at some other differences between Social Security disability insurance and then VA claims. So Social Security has something called the Social Security Administration's listing of impairments. Here's the list here. A lot of these things are compensable by the VA and by Social Security. So you want to make sure the disability you're filing a Social Security claim for is actually recognized in the Blue Book and on this list. I guess one thing that's very similar is Social Security post things on their website, and so does the VA, and they put a bunch of words on there, but they don't really define them, telling you exactly what you need. So requirements for qualification for a Social Security claim, along with having an identifiable medical condition, which is on the list, the Blue Book list, you also must show one of the following. The condition is expected to result in death. The condition has persisted for at least 12 months. The condition is expected to persist for a minimum of 12 months. So they're very specific there. First one is pretty self-explanatory. Then you have it's persisted for 12 months, and then you have is expected to persist longer than 12 months. With VA disabilities, there is a time frame, current diagnosis. That's like 6 months to a year, but you could come and file secondary claims 37 years after you're discharged and win them. And you don't have to worry about this specific time frame. It lasted for 12 months. It's going to last longer than 12 months or death. The VA has a lot more latitude in this area. So this is a good one to focus on if you're filing a Social Security claim. The medical evidence you're going to need is similar. They don't have a nexus per se, but they're going to need current medical records, current diagnosis, current symptoms, and they're going to be focusing on, is this current diagnosis and symptoms preventing you from working at all, period. You can't work at all. Not some, just you can't work. And then, has it been like this for 12 months? Is it expected to last longer than 12 months? Or are you going to die? If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my bootcamp at combatcraig.com. And if you need medical evidence for your VA claim, hit up my med team. There's an email address in the description. And I wanted to clear some of these things up and give you an example. And I'll be doing a few more of these because I know a lot of you guys have questions. And the answer is kind of. Sometimes you can use the exact same evidence that you used to win your VA claim. Most of the times you can't. One more thing I'd like to add is the use of a vocational expert. People that file TDIU claims, you should always have a vocational expert involved. It's all about work, labor laws, things of that nature. And the VA really doesn't have an answer for a vocational expert. Once you move over to Social Security side of the house, the vocational expert is literally sitting right next to the judge if your Social Security claim gets denied and you have to go to a hearing. They're literally sitting right next to the judge. So vocational experts are everywhere. So I strongly suggest getting a vocational expert's opinion. Get one on board and involved in your Social Security claim so you can win it up front. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.